Now at 6 o'clock. Take a look at this. This is the massive fire still burning in Richmond and the eastern part of Indiana yet this morning after breaking out yesterday afternoon. The fire marshal says this likely is going to remain the case and keep burning for a few days as fire crews are taking a defensive stance in their approach there. What does this mean for the people who live there? Well, if you're close by, there is an evacuation order that now is in place because there were plastics in the building that burned, and so the smoke around the fire is considered toxic.
Samantha Johnson is live in Richmond this morning with the look at the situation there. We've talked about this is going to be burning for days. You can still see, are you still seeing active flames this morning, Samantha?
We are, Julia and Anne Marie. In fact, we've seen some of those flames lessen when crews are able to get in there, but some of them are actually getting worse. And I want to show you, if you take a close look here behind us. So right where those trucks are set up, there was a massive flame there just a few moments ago. That's died down, but now crews are turning their attention back to this area that's kind of blocked by a few of the homes in the back. You can see that water spraying the backside of that property there. We had just seen flames that were feet tall in the air. So this is still a very busy morning here in Richmond. Crews have been coming in and out of this side street all morning long. I also want to tell you a few things that we have noticed just since we've been here on the scene for the past couple of hours. We have noticed that much of that smoke is headed northeast, so we are safe where we are right now. We're out of that debris zone. We've also noticed there's not really any kind of smell, and again, that could be because it's all blowing the opposite direction. We also noticed as soon as we pulled into town earlier today, we got an emergency alert on our phone to let us know about that evacuation here in this area. So I want to walk you through exactly what we can tell you this morning. As we mentioned, we know this was a plastics recycling facility where this fire broke out yesterday afternoon. And the fire crews tells us, we talked to the chief here, he says this is probably the biggest fire he has ever seen in his career. Now we know it started as a tractor trailer just outside that facility. Crews were able to get it under control before it spread to any nearby homes or businesses, and it was considered contained yesterday. So that's the good news. But overnight, we are also hearing a little bit more about who could have owned this property, and we're hearing of conversations between the ownership and the city that there were concerns that something like this could have happened. Conversations to make sure this property was kept safe and up to date. Here's what some of the city leaders had to say yesterday. We know that we were able to talk to the fire chief. We also talked to the mayor here in Richmond. They tell us that they were deeply upset that someone was able to own this property, create this kind of hazard, and have this kind of neglect right here in their own community. So certainly as this investigation continues, we will learn more. No official word yet on the cause of that fire. We also know this morning the toxicity of all of this is a big concern for residents here in Richmond. We know, according to the mayor, we are still waiting on an official report from the EPA, but we mentioned those evacuation orders, making sure that you're staying out of this area if you can. For folks that are just outside that half-mile radius, they're also being asked to shelter in place. Stay indoors, shut windows, shut doors, bring in pets if you can as well. So Julia and Anne Marie, an incredibly busy morning here. This now coming on day 2 of fighting this fire.
Of what will be a very, very busy couple of days. Samantha, thank you. And you can hear from those city leaders online at WTHR.com.